Hey, sorry for the interruption, but we wanted to let you know that this week's episode is brought to you by Spotify for Podcasters. Really cool app. Josiah and I use it for every single show that we bring to you every week. You can edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so you can start creating as soon as you log into the platform. You can easily distribute your podcasts to Spotify and everywhere else the podcasts are heard, just like we do every single week. You can also create video podcasts on Spotify, which is really cool. And of course, you can earn money like I'm doing right now by including ads and even podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free. There's no catch. We really love it. We use it every single week. So we encourage you to go download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. All right, let's get back to the show.
Radical! Welcome to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. Each week, join the gnarly Travis and Josiah as they provide insight into the print on demand industry and equip you with the totally tubular tools, advice, and strategies you need to achieve success and hopefully have a few laughs along the way. Now on to this week's Totally Tubular show.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Print on Demand Cast. As always, your host Josiah, and I'm joined once again by Travis Ross, who is back in the office. Last week he was feeling not so good, a little under the weather, which I've always wanted to Google where that phrase comes from, but he did feel under the weather. So Travis, good to see you back in studio, for lack of a better term. How was your how's your weekend? How's your Monday?
Weekend was all right. I had I've got a band, for those of you who don't know. It's called 10 Cent Profit. And we play out. And so we had a gig up at a casino up in the mountains this weekend, Friday and Saturday, 8 to midnight. So it's 2 long nights on. And then Saturday, you have to break everything down. I didn't get home until close to 3:00 in the morning on Saturday. And so it was a long weekend, but it was fun. You can probably tell my voice is still a little tired from the weekend. And then it's kind of got a little hangover from the sickness from last week. But just another Monday, kind of just getting stuff done and trying to figure out what we're going to be planning on, or what we're planning for this week. We've got a meeting tomorrow that we're actually going to be talking about the very same thing we're talking about in the main event today, internally, and kind of just deciding, making some plans for this summer, for Make Your Mark Design. And how was your Monday? How are things here in the office right over there?
They're good. Did some SOP work today, did some, there's some tasks that have been assigned over the last couple of weeks, making sure everything is being documented, and we're trying to document the process of how you make a quote in Deco and how you process an order and how, just all the things. So did some of that, got some more quotes, or got emails for some more quotes I need to send out. But yeah, that's basically, the day went by fast, which is nice for a Monday. I started feeling a little cruddy. I don't know. I don't think I got what you guys had because I didn't have a cough or anything like that. But apparently the flu is back somehow. Crazy. And a lot of people that I've been talking to have been saying, yeah, man, my friend or I even felt crappy. So guess 'tis the season, I suppose. But
no good.
After done recording this, I'm going to go. We have a portable sauna at our house, and it's really good to sweat and get all the stuff, just sweat it all out. So I've been doing that every other day, just trying to stay on top of it, and just trying. I sleep a lot better, and I feel a lot better in the morning. So I have to credit my wife with that, because she's been a big fan of it for a while, and I thought it was. I just don't enjoy saunas like that. You sit in completely because you can't breathe. But that's neither here nor there. Otherwise, man, things are going good, and it's good to be back here on the Print on Demand Cast. So without any further ado, I should say, we're going to just go ahead and go straight into everyone's favorite segment of the week, the weekly dad joke.
Time for the weekly dad joke.
All right, so a little trivia for you, Travis, and the listeners
Okay.
there that has to do with, growing up, I was a huge, I loved learning about ancient Greece and, Athens and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, fascinated with all of it. And so I learned it recently that people in Athens rarely get up before sunrise.
Really? I wonder
Yeah.
why. That's interesting.
Well, it's because dawn is tough on Greece. And that's this week's weekly dad joke. All right. Yeah, I thought that was funny. I liked it.
That is funny.
With that being said, we're going to go straight into this week's point of interest with quite possibly the most emotionally provoking bumper that we've ever made.
Point of interest. It's touching.
Beautiful. Yeah, every time. If you haven't seen that on video yet, avail yourself to do so because it's very good. So a lot of what we're talking about has to do with what we're doing in the coming week, and this is no exception. This weekend, Thursday, Friday, is the Graphics Expo in Denver that I think you and I and Tate, and I don't know who else. I don't know if Amy is going to join in this adventure, but we're all going to this expo. So tell the people a little bit about what this particular one is and how it differs from, say, Long Beach, where you were in January.
Well, one way it differs is that it's way smaller.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if this were in any other town or, if we had to travel to get there, I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But since it's, 25 minutes away by car, it's easy to go. There's going to be some of our equipment manufacturers there that we can connect with. And I do think it's always good to just kind of, take a minute to keep those relationships going, shake hands, maybe go out to dinner or something like that, just kind of depends. But so there's going to be a few of our people that'll be there, like Mamaki will be there, who they've done our UV machines. Of course, Epilogue will be there because Epilogue is actually based in Colorado as well, as is Melco. It's funny though. I'm looking at the exhibitor list right now, and it doesn't look like Melco is actually coming.
Really?
But it's part of that is because this is more screen printing, DTG, those types of things. And I don't know, I guess there are some laser places coming. As a matter of fact, I think the Mamaki is probably going to be doing more sublimation products as opposed to UV products. But I don't see another company on here that does embroidery. So
right.
Perhaps it's, it's not kind of the one that it's not necessarily the Graphics Pro show is not necessarily one that embroiderers typically go to, but that's fine. I do know a couple others on the list, and like I said, it'll just be good to, just walk around and shake hands and maybe see a few new things, but I'm not really expecting to see too many new things. And honestly, I'm not expecting it to take us very long to walk the whole show.
I think the show is open itself from only like 10 to 3 or 10 to 4 or something like that, which is comparatively a pretty short exhibition time for people to get out on the floor compared to the SGIAs and the Long Beach. But I mean, we always talk about a lot on this podcast, and a lot of the reasons you go to these types of things, regardless of how big or small, is you make connections, and who knows, we might make a connection at this particular expo that they're looking for someone to help with something we do, and we're looking for something that they do. So that you never know who you're going to run into or what you're what connections you'll make.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be somebody sitting behind the table. It could be
Right.
just another person that's attending the show that you make a connection with. Like John Yogazinski that we had
Yeah.
on the show a while back,
Yep.
made a connection with him. So you just never know who you're gonna run into. And then the other benefit is just, getting ideas. There's always going to be there's no shortage of ideas, and you really do need to kind of go get out there at these shows, and because it helps get ideas. I still remember, and I think I talked about this at one other time, but I remember the first trade show that was actually the Long Beach trade show that I actually met Uncle Mike from the show. And we were walking around, and he hadn't been to a trade show in, years. And he was, at the time, he had a print shop with all these different technologies and all this stuff. And here I was going, oh, have you seen this piece of equipment? Have you seen the new, the new DTG, the new this, the new that? And he had no idea, because he had just kind of been nose down, just doing his business, and hadn't really gone out to these different shows, where I had actually been, at these shows, seen all of these different, pieces of equipment. And I frankly probably knew more about the new equipment that had come out than he did at the time, even though he was way more into the business than I was. And it was all just because I had put myself there and educated myself. And so I just think it's very good to kind of push yourself a little bit, to at least get to a show a year, just so you know what's going on in the business. I've already been to one this year, but this one, again, it's 25 minutes away, so we're going to hit it this weekend.
Nice.
Probably Thursday afternoon, possibly Friday. I'm not sure. They're giving free beer away on Thursday, so that may influence our decision.
Another audience, that's for sure. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I know, it's out by the airport, and it's not very far away from us. So yeah, looking forward to it. And I haven't been to a show in quite some time, so it'll just be fun to kind of see what's out there and connect with people. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So we will go from that to this week's main event. One, and the vocals done by Travis himself. So in case anyone's wondering,
no one was wondering.
His band, so this week's main event is, again, we're going to be having a meeting about this tomorrow, but we're going to talk about preparing for summer farm and art markets, which is a really good way. You guys have kind of proven that even last summer. It's a good way to get your name out there. It's a good way to get some visibility in the community, and meet locals as well. We've talked a lot about how, again, even in the point of interest, networking is huge. These are a good way to get out and meet people at these farm and art markets. So we're going to kind of break down, what you need to think through. If you're listening to this and you're like, hey, actually, I think I could sell them. Maybe you sublimate mugs, maybe you do some decorating in house, maybe do some embroidery, that would be something you can take and sell at these markets. So Travis, why, we kind of mentioned, can you think of anything other reasons why you would go to one of these and be an exhibitor, other than what I mentioned here in kind of the opening statement, for lack of a better term?
I mean, I think you covered it all. I just, from our experience, we probably sold more with the connections that we made than we actually did at the markets after the markets were done.
Right.
And I think that's huge. That's something that you can't shake a stick at, you know what I mean? And it's not just a one-time thing that you meet these people at the market and that's it. We've exchanged business cards and then continue to do business with people over time. And so I think it's a very, very inexpensive, and you actually can make money and also get your name. It's a way to advertise your services and your company. And you don't have to pay for it. You're actually getting paid to advertise. And so I can't express enough how positive I think these markets are. They are a lot of work. You have to really plan for them, and that's the reason for this main event. So we can kind of talk you through that. A lot of it's probably pretty like kind of obvious, but there might be a piece of information that we give today that will help you. And, you might have forgot if you didn't listen to this episode. So take notes.
Yeah, for sure. So, of course, you want to go to a market and first thing you need to think about is what you're going to have available for sale at the particular market. And there's a couple of things to think about. You can do something that's town-centric. For example, Louisville, which is one you guys did last year. You had a lot of Louisville swag, a lot of Erie stuff, with Erie Strong or Louisville Strong or Colorado in general. In Colorado, we've talked about this too, where Colorado seems to be a state that the flag and kind of state pride is very attractive to people. Like to wear Colorado gear. They like to, it's very much a trend. And I think not every state, I don't think, has it to this particular level that Colorado has. But you can think town centered. You can think event centered. Maybe it's a specific event or market that you're at, and you're selling stuff to promote a particular market.
Yeah, I know. Like, I've known people that they just specifically focus on like events in the summer, like competitions. They'll go to just swim meets in the summer, and they have all of their stuff that's event centered. It's, it's focused around the swim teams and the swim, kind of that genre or that niche. Or you might go to, if you're into cars, maybe there's, kind of a racing circuit that you could, start attending and get in with the, some of the promoters and whatnot, and have a booth that you just go to those, and you're selling racing gear, or racing swag. So you don't just have to go to a farm and art market. There's a lot of other opportunities to kind of do some of this at different types of events. I was just going to say, you mentioned how Colorado people like to wear the Colorado flag and things like that, and part of that is because it's not trademarked, and so as Colorado residents, we put it on everything. So do check if your state flag is trademarked, or you may have a I know I'm originally from Wichita, Kansas, and Wichita came out with a flag for Wichita. I'm not sure if it's trademarked or not, but there's some Wichita pride. And if you could put that on some things, or, if it wasn't trademarked, or if you had the ability to kind of get in with that trademark and license that, you could do some really cool things if you were in the Wichita, Kansas area around that flag. And so even though maybe people outside of Kansas or Wichita or whatever might not know that, the people who you're directly marketing to at that market, at that event, they definitely do know what that flag is or what it means, and they have some pride around that. And so don't just, hey, I live in Idaho, so no one cares about the Idaho state flag. Well, no, people from Idaho really do care about it a lot. So don't discount, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, just because you don't live in California or Colorado or Texas, where people kind of outside of the state might recognize that flag. You don't have to, at these events, that's the beauty of it. It's a local event. And so you can count on those people being local and having pride in the state flag or the city flag or the county flag or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to think again after that, what are you going to sell these things on? I think drinkware is always popular. Home decor, you can do t-shirts, but one thing you got to keep in mind when you're doing any kind of apparel is you need to have enough of each size, or enough of the popular sizes. You're going to have produce more or have more on hand when it comes to t-shirts, that you may not sell any of the smalls. You might sell just mediums. You got to take into the inventory for that. But drinkware, home decor, drinkware you guys had a lot of success with in this last summer. It seems like you guys had a lot of drinkware options out there for people to purchase.
Yeah, we had, obviously, with the ability to do sublimation and then also be able to do laser engraving, we were able to bring both. We actually found that, while some of the sublimation sold, really the big sellers were like those laser engraved water bottles, and then the tumblers that, the leatherette tumblers and all those things that we could do in the laser machine. Those were the things that sold the most. I remember a guy, and most of them just had like a Colorado design or a Louisville or Erie design or something that was kind of local. And I remember, there were a couple times people would come up and go, I want 6 of those. I don't care what color they are because I'm going to give them away as gifts. So that's the other thing. They kind of can do some of their Christmas shopping in the middle of the summer, right there at your booth. I had a bunch of people, it was in the summer, and like, hey, my kid is going away to college and I want to get him a water bottle that reminds them of home. So, there's just so many different reasons for people to buy from you. It's very interesting. It's, you meet a lot of different people while you do this. But so drinkware was very popular. Another thing that we did, and we'll talk about this kind of in the next thing, we did a lot of headwear, so caps. And we would actually, our gimmick or our shtick was we had a heat press, a hat press. And then we had all of these leather patches that we had laser engraved and had like probably, 10 designs maybe, but just different colors of each of those. And because we'd have huge sheets, we could just do a whole bunch of the same color of all the different designs. So we could have a whole lot of selection. And then we had a heat press there, and these were self-adhesed. You just rip off the back, put it on the heat press, and that person gets a semi-custom hat because they get to choose the hat style and then choose the patch, and then we press it right there and they walk away with a brand new hat. That was one of the reasons why people stopped at our booth. And kind of our next point, the thing that you want to think about is like, why will people stop at your booth?
Yeah. I think having stuff on site that people can see being made or pick and choose, or even, hey, you want to pull the lever. And for kids, that's huge. Parents, their kids can have an experience making the hat or the thing that they're going to go home with. You can do that with T-shirts, whether it's sublimating T-shirts. Again, I went to an event. It was like a comedy show, and they had a table with a heat press and just light colored T-shirts with this guy's logo on it. And you picked the color, you picked the logo, and they'd press it, and you walked out the door with your shirt. They made it there in front of you. I know that they have, the mug, the inverted coloring sheets where they have like special sublimation markers where kids can go and draw anything they want on that sublimation sheet and then put it on the mug, which is huge. To your previous point about going to swim meets or, stuff like that, if you have the ability to do stuff on demand at the event, whether that's a swim meet or I met someone at SGIA once, I think, that had the football was in the state championship. So they went out, they rocked up with their setup. They had a team photo and they supplemented the team photo on white shirt. And if it was a parent and they had a favorite player, what's the number? We'll sublimate that on the back. And they made a killing because it was all live there. They could see it being made. So, having something like Travis said, having a gimmick is something that might seem cheesy at first, maybe, but it definitely does set you apart because at some point there's conversations that are like, have you been to that booth where you just make whatever you put on paper and put it on a mug? Have you been to the booth where you can pick any leather patch and put it on whatever hat you want? You got to go check those guys out. So it definitely does set you apart, and it's a lot of fun for the customer. And, it's a lot of fun, at least from my experience, seeing people enjoy the process or wow, I didn't know whatever that looks like, the experience for them is really good. So you definitely want to have something that sets you apart in some way.
Yeah, for sure. I know there's, I believe it's Condi. Condi is a vendor for sublimation and just a lot of different items. But I believe they had at one of the events that we went to, they were selling kind of a
I remember
business
that.
in a box type thing where basically they had like it was almost like a router or a wireless type of device that they hooked to a computer and to a printer. And you could go on your phone and find a picture and then jump onto their network on this Wi-Fi thing and send them the picture to put on, product A, product B, product C, whatever you wanted, a phone case or a coaster or, maybe a hat or whatever you wanted. And then they would print it with their sublimation printer, take it out and press it right there. And it was whatever you had on your phone. So if you had a picture of you and your dog, you could get that on a coffee mug or whatever. That is, the experience that people have when they do that is incredible. They just love it. And so you can charge a lot for it. And it is, it's a lot of work. You got to set up this whole network. You have to make sure you have, power to power your printer and your computer and all that. But that is an amazing idea. If you can decide, okay, I'm going to sell these 5 things, they can choose from 5 things. They're all flat press, or I'm going to choose, this thing and this thing and this thing. And, I have a clamshell press for the drinkware, and then I have a flat press for the flat stuff or whatever it is. That will cause people to stop at your booth for sure.
Yep. Absolutely. And so the next point that we're going to hit here is which markets will you focus on? Because not all markets are created the same.
Right.
And the fact that they just attract different demographics of people, even in the same town. I know last year you guys did the Erie, the farm and art market. And then you did the Erie Biscuit Day market. So talk a little bit about the difference in just the demographic of people that those 2 things brought to you, even though it was in the same town.
Yeah, it wasn't just in the same town. It was actually on the same street. It was the exact same place. The only difference was one was a farm and art market. And so people would come out every Thursday night and they would walk it. And so we would see, a lot of times we'd see the same people. A lot of times, obviously some people go every week. Some people only maybe make it to one. So there's definitely always new people there. But then the Erie Biscuit Day, totally different group of people. Some may have gone to the farm and art market, but it was a whole new market, a whole new subset of people that had never really seen our stuff. So we did really good one morning at the Erie Biscuit Day. Just even though it was in the same place, we were still able to use our same Erie Colorado focused swag. And it was kind of a nice end to the season because it was towards the end of the year, and the farm and art markets were done, but we still had Erie stuff. So we're like, let's go to the Biscuit Day and sell through a bunch of stuff. And it worked, we were able to sell through a lot of our excess Erie stuff just because a lot of those people had never seen it and it was new to them. And so that's really the point here is like, just because one market is in the same exact place as another market doesn't mean the same people are going to be there. It can totally be a whole new subset just based on the reason that people are coming. If it's one might be a 4th of July festival, the other is a farm and art market. It's the same town, but it's 2 totally different subsets of people.
Right. And it does, it kind of has an advantage to doing like planning your products. If it is in a town or if it is in in a state, you always know that regardless, you'll be able to move through Colorado stuff, even if you do different markets in different towns in Colorado or Florida or California or whatever. So there always is, ways to move the inventory. When you plan it that way as well. The next thing to think about, of course, is who's going to run this. Are you going to need one person? Are you going to need 2 people, 3? Mm-hmm. I would venture to say most of the time, you would at least want 2 people, just if anything, to capture more conversation, so that there's someone usually always open to engage someone asking a question. Because if you and I were out there and or if I was out there by myself and someone came and asked me a question, I was talking to that person and someone else came up that had a question or expressed interest, I can't just end the conversation. So I think multiple people is recommended, but I don't know if you necessarily need 4 unless it's a huge festival,
Yeah. And I think part of that too is like, what are you doing behind the table? If it's just all pre-made products and it's like, I want that one. All right. Here's the card. But if you've got to like go print something or press something or whatever, you need somebody else standing up there, being available to talk to other people. Just so you, like, to your point, so you capture those conversations, you get people interested. One big tip that I will give you is, if you can, get somebody that will come with you that is more extroverted. Because a lot of people at these events will just walk by you and look at this stuff and they won't make eye contact with you because they're human and they're just doing their thing. They might be interested, but they're not necessarily interested enough to come over. And so you might have to be like, hey, have you seen our stuff? Have you seen, these cool patch hats that we do that are custom? Have you seen our custom patch, or whatever? And then they're like, oh, and they have a reason to come over. You would be surprised how many sales you can capture from just getting somebody's attention and starting a conversation. So if you can, you might consider trying to get somebody who's a little more extroverted, or if they are introverted, just make sure that they understand that they need to be, in this case, more extroverted to capture those sales.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to tell them, hey, just for this couple hours, be extroverted, and then you can go recharge yourself, which is very much how my wife is. She's like, okay, I'm going to go recharge now. And I'm the type of person that's like, what does recharge mean? That's why you sleep, right? Like I'm good to go for the most part, just whatever.
And that's one of the reasons that you'll be running the markets for us this year.
Exactly. All right. So of course, some other things to think about, some more logistic type stuff is like, what are you going to need?
Right.
Just practically speaking. Like tents and weights, signage. Do you guys have signage?
Weights are very important.
Yes, because weights are
you don't want that tent to become a kite.
Yeah, trust me, it is not a good time. I've had a lot of experience, not necessarily myself, but helping out with, Worship on the Rocks, which is an event that our mutual friend puts on. And I was in charge of kind of the vendor village area up at the top. And I expressed, like, listen, I don't mean to be punny here, but weights are a very heavy and integral part of this entire thing. It's so important. And there were a couple of people that didn't bring them, and it's red rocks and there's wind, and you're right. It's just, it turns into a kite and metal gets bent and all their stuff was everywhere. So weights do not sleep on the weights. Be uncomfortable, but don't
be uncomfortable.
Yes.
Get a crick in your neck.
Yeah. Signage, a banner for the back, poster frame. How are you going to draw people to you? I would suggest you do that rather than just have product on the table. Get something that draws people in.
Yeah, we had a banner that just went across the back that just had our name and our location, our actual physical location. But we also basically got these posters printed up at FedEx. We did a big thing in Canva, just made and with like pricing and then we had a big sign that said, custom patch hats, and had a big thing. And then I bought 2 big frames, like poster frames that were like 3 inches thick, like nice frames, but they were at Walmart. I spent, I don't know, $12-15 a piece on them. And then we had those leaning up against the tables, which is another thing that you need to have in the front. So people would see custom patches, and then they'd also have kind of a menu of costs on everything. So they didn't feel like they had to ask us, and, just gave them a little bit more ease. But putting those in the frames really made it look a lot sharper, and they didn't have to hang anywhere. And that was an easy way to kind of win with that. And we just got them printed. We literally got them printed at FedEx print place, and that was super easy. And So then the next thing, of course, is tables. you can buy or even make just some table risers, so you don't have to bend down so much if you want. We have them here because where our people work, they don't have to bend down as much, and basically just like 12 to 18 inches of PVC pipe.
It's really simple, but I mean, it makes a world of difference for not only like in this, like Travis saying, in this context, but production, because I've done the thing where you're bending over and packing the shirts or you're doing the mugs and you don't realize it until your day's over and you're like, why in the world does my back hurt so much? Or I don't understand. So it is a game changer. And I think it'd be easier, or it's more convenient for your customers too, if they don't have to bend down and look at stuff. It's more closer to their level. I think it's a huge thing. Travis, what else would be on the list of things that people would need to bring? Yeah,
I think, you're going to want to have a money box of some sort with some change. Start with some change. You might want to have like a Venmo account or Cash App, because some people want to do that. We had a Square reader, of course, with a Square account. So we were able to, I would recommend you have two, if you have two people there, both of you have your own Square ability to take payments. So you're not having to pass phones around or pass iPads around or whatever. But that, that'll kind of get you going as far as like how to collect the money. Make sure that you do have some change to start the day with. Because some people want to pay cash, and then other people, they just go to the event and they don't have anything except for their phone. So they just want to do Venmo. So that would be another one that I would encourage you to have. Tablecloths for the actual tables. We bought some, I can't remember where, but like the ones that kind of hug the table, and they kind of,
like form.
Yeah.
They're like Spanx, but for
tables. They are. They are. They just look a little nicer. They were, they looked nicer than just having white tables.
Yeah.
And then when we first started, we tried like the plastic tablecloths you get at Walmart, and those things lasted like an event, and that was it. So fabric tablecloths that actually.
Yeah, table Spanx. Get them.
Table Spanx. Yeah. Yeah, and then beyond that, you want to have the ability to display your wares. So we use like these little crates that you can buy. I think we bought them at Home Depot, that we would put stuff in the crates, like, line up the shirts and kind of set them in the crates. And then you could put like drinkware on top of the crates. Kind of a 2-tiered system, which with as much stuff as we had was very good. And then it also doubled as like a carrying device. When you were leaving, you could put stuff in it, when you were loading up. Hangers, if you're going to do like t-shirts, we hung some of our clothing on the actual tent all around. Just how are you going to display this stuff? So think through that as well. What else, Josiah, that you need?
I'm laughing because you and I, when Resound conferences would happen, they'd always make us be in charge of the merch booth, and just the ingenuity we had of like, hey, we should hang this top only dummy from the ceiling and have it floating, and then have, just the things that we were able to do. And the last one being outdoors, I specifically remember being like, does anyone have hangers? And we had to kind of find things to hang the shirts with.
Yep.
So yeah, that's why preparation, a list like this is important. So of course you're going to want to have the ability for people to contact you after this is done. More often than not, people will ask if you have a business card, if they need something made. It's smart to even just kind of, the next item on the list is bags for customers, whether it's plastic bags or you want to do some cheap tote bags with your logo or the event logo or whatever you would be willing to just kind of give to every person with a purchase. Dropping a business card in there or a QR code to your website or something like that, where they're going to have the ability to find you after this is done, because more often than not in these scenarios, people will ask you, one of the biggest questions they'll ask you is, do you do hats too? Or do you also do like, what else do you do? Because I'm looking for this, or do
you do this for businesses? That's a big one.
Yeah. Or can I do this and can I can place a big order, or I have a family reunion coming up or whatever. So those questions are asked all the time. And so have a business card on there. Have a business card with your information, a QR code, maybe even like a 10% off your next order type thing. So when they do call and place that order with you, it gives them incentive to reach out again after the market's done. So there's lots of different things you can do, but it's important to have a way for people to find you after this is done. There's no more uncomfortable feeling than when people are like, hey, let me get your card. And you're like, well, I wish I could give you my card. So, I mean, that's something that you're going to want to have. So, and then the last thing, again, like we said, bags. Do you guys have bags for people to carry stuff away? Do people just kind of take things?
Yeah. We would offer bags. We just had some smaller little kind of, because we're so close to Boulder County and Louisville is in Boulder County. We didn't want to do plastic bags. Sure. There's some like ordinances and all of that for those. So we did just kind of those craft paper bags, and I can't remember where we got them, but I think we still have some that we'll be able to use this year. Because honestly, not half the people are just like, oh no, I already have a bag. I'll just put it in here, So, but it is nice to have that for people. So when they buy 4 or 5 things, and they don't have a bag, it's nice to be able to serve them that way. Right.
Absolutely. Well, anything else, Travis? We've exhausted the list that we made. Is there anything else that you can think of before I remove you from the stream arbitrarily because I hit the wrong button? Anything else you want to add to the list before we call this one?
I not really. I just feel like I just want to reiterate what we kind of set up off the top. While you've kind of heard there's a lot of logistics, a lot of prep to doing this. It's such a business booster. If you're kind of getting started and, have more time than you do money, this might be something that, you'd invest in, figure out a thing that you can kind of do that would draw people into your booth. You can go out and you can pre-print a bunch of stuff and have it all sit there. But if there's something else you can do that's more custom, and you can like bring your printer and bring your computer and bring your, your little press or whatever, and you can really clean up and create a customer list that will shock you. I was amazed at how much business we did after the events were over for the season. Right. It was incredible. It was really incredible. We had someone contact us right at the end of the year, and they wanted like 350 hats. It's like, oh yes, we will do that for you.
We will do all of those things.
Yeah. We had people that wanted us to help them with kind of onesie twosie things that they had. Oh, I have my logo at home. Can I contact you? Yeah, here's my card. Contact me. So like during the actual events, during the summer, we had people kind of, we were selling things to people that we had met there for some of their, and then, like I said, and then months later, we still had people contacting us and saying, hey, I saw you at the fair, at the Farm and Art Market, and you said you could do this. Is that true? Yep, we sure can. Here's a quote. Give me your money. So, I know we already said all of that, but I just feel like it's smart to reiterate it because it really is a powerful booster for your business. It can really push you forward. So I want to encourage you guys to think seriously. If you do have the time to do this, it very well may be worth it for your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys have any questions for us, or you have any thoughts or ideas, to bring people to a booth or what have you, something that we talked about either resonated with you, struck a chord, you feel motivated to do a market this summer, let us know. And the best way to do that, of course, is to join the Facebook group. That's facebook.com/groups/print-on-demand-cast. There's where you can join the family, the conversation. If you have questions, a lot of our guests that we've had in the past are also a part of the Facebook group. So it's a good way to reach out to them and ask them a question as well. But we'd love to have you be a part. We're always excited to see engagement in that group. So please avail yourself of that and request to join, answer the questions. You have to answer the questions. That way we know that you're not a bot, because sometimes people are members of 3,000 groups for no particular reason. which is crazy to me. So just answer the questions. But we'd love to have you be a part of that as well. We're also on Instagram, instagram.com/printondemandcast. We're on YouTube, where the video version of this drops every Friday, youtube.com/printondemandcast. You can also get the video early if you don't want to wait till Friday by listening on Spotify. The video is also there for your viewing pleasure. And if you're not doing video, if you just want audio, the audio feed, that every other podcast platform out there, we're there. Apple, Google, Stitcher, Anchor, I don't know. I always say there's probably another one that's just dropped, SoundCloud. We're not on SoundCloud, but it was a joke. But wherever podcasts are, the PODcast is there for you to enjoy. And you can also email us, info@makeyourmark.design. It's probably the best one to reach out to us at the moment, because the other one was a victim of the other hackery that happened that we've discussed, and why we have to give you facebook.com/group///. So info@makeyourmark.design is the best way to reach out to both of us. If you're listening on Apple, please give us a review, 5 stars preferably, of course. Let us know what you think of the show. Spotify as well. You can rate the podcast at the top of the stream, or top of the feed rather, and we always enjoy your feedback. Travis, anything else before we send this one all the way home?
I was just going to say that printondemandcast.com, the domain has been transferred to our new registrar and coming to an internet near you.
All right.
Just, at some point. I don't know when.
Yeah.
I'm making promises I can't really keep.
It's as much
it's closer.
I would say it's TDB, but so yeah, we're looking forward to that as well. So for Travis, I'm Josiah. We'll see you next time right here on the Print on Demand cast.
See ya.
Hey babe, thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.